So, welcome to anyone out there. Okay, I was a little scattered getting in here. Oh, that's okay. Okay. Let's turn that down a little. Okay, so this is a visual novel. Okay. Thought my mic was off for a minute. Okay, so this is a visual novel called Crystalline. And so the story is the protagonist was just some guy in college, and he somehow got brought to this different world where there's magic and crystals that power everything, because crystals always power things in fantasy worlds. And now they're trying. He met this person who's like a wizard cop, basically. She's a mage knight. And so now they're trying to find a lost city of magic, I think. Yeah, so that's where we are. So I think they're gonna ask around about if anyone knows the way. So maybe we should split up. We can cover more ground that way.
Good idea. I'll go talk to that couple first.
Okay. As Yana walks off, I survey the room. I think I'll turn down my mic a little. Okay, I think that'll work better. Probably. Okay. Just a group of adventurers. I approach a table of misfits. These guys look like they're well traveled. There's a tall, bulky man wearing fur boots and a loincloth and very little else. His muscles ripple as he takes a swig from his tankard. Beside him is a short and stout bearded man. Gold is entwined in his braided beard, and a scar runs from the bald head down to his cheek. His bald head. The last member of their party is a lithe and elegant man. Excuse me, just got something caught in my throat. A bow is slung on the back of his glossy hair. Oh, on his back, and his glossy hair spills around it. Wow, I cannot read tonight. Hey there. The blonde one grins, while the other two peer at me.
Well, aren't you a tall, refreshing drink of water? I'm Randall, but you can call me Randy.
He winks. I'm not sure about this. Well then. Hi, I'm David. I hope I'm not intruding. I just had a quick question.
Not at all. Ask away.
Do any of you know how to get to the city of Ember Mist? Randall laughs.
Do you still believe in those fairy tales? Ember Mist is just a myth.
Well, I think it's a real place. Yeah, that's always a good sign. You know, just... And when someone totally dismisses your, like, premise, just stubbornly reinforce it. Yeah, that's definitely the way to go. The Baldman
The
frowns.
city's underground.
This time the hulking barbarian cracks a smile.
You believe in it too?
Of course not.
But if it did exist, it would be underground. Otherwise, why hasn't anyone been able to find it?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Says the person too dumb to wear clothes.
I'm wearing clothes!
Your underwear doesn't count.
The two continue to bicker as Randall tries to see them both. They slowly back away. That wasn't helpful. Let's ask the loner. The loner types usually travel the world, don't they? I approach the man sitting alone in the far corner of the inn. His head is down, as he nurses a tankard. Once I get close, I recognize him. Zack. His head shoots up and he stares at me with those familiar stoic eyes.
Oh, it's you.
Wow. You finished whatever it is you came here to do?
Yep.
Cool. He's still just as talkative as ever.
You finish up at the academy?
Yeah, it was interesting.
Mages usually are.
One of them told me about the city of Emerald. North.
Sending you on a wild goose chase, huh?
I guess that means you don't know where it is either.
Nope.
Well, it was worth a shot. Alright, well, it was good seeing you. Looks like I'm not having much luck. I wonder how Liana is doing. Judging from her pout, she had about as much success as I did. We make our way back to the bar.
Greetings.
Amelia waits for us by the bar, and I'm startled to see her presence. That's a weird... That's a weird choice of words. Liana looks just as shocked.
What are you doing here?
I've come to accompany you on your journey.
Professor Xavier made it very clear that you were to stay at the academy.
His logic is rational, but my presence and assistance is far more beneficial for you than it is for me to remain at the academy.
What assistance?
I am aware of the location of Ember Mist.
How is that possible?
How I know is irrelevant.
Alright, if you know, then tell us where it is.
I will gladly impart this knowledge unto you should you accept me as a travel companion.
But the academy won't let you go.
If I cannot go, then I suppose neither can you.
Liana bites her lip until she is torn. I mean... why not? You should let her join.
We shouldn't go against a direct order from the Mage Academy.
Well, like I care. What other choice do we have? Nobody at this inn knows the location. I doubt we'll find anyone else who can tell us how to get there. Are you really willing to give up the lead? Liana runs her hand through her hair as she thinks. She steals glances at Amelia, who watches us with hawk eyes. Finally, Liana's expression softens, and she nods.
Fine. You can come with us, but only on the condition that you let us bring extra protection.
That is a logical conclusion. I am not opposed to it.
All right. I'll see if I can find some mages last minute.
No!
Leona and I stare at Amelia.
Mages will alert the Academy of our proposal.
And then they let us go.
Correct.
I suppose that makes sense.
She taps finger to her chin.
I guess the only other option is to hire a mercenary.
I have just the person in mind. I need to tell them to where Zack is sitting.
Hey, Zach.
He looks up from his tankard. If he's surprised, he doesn't show it.
I didn't expect to see you so soon.
We were feeling a little bit of separation and anxiety. To my surprise, Zack cracks a smile.
I'm actually here to do business.
Zack cocks his head slightly.
You have my attention.
We need protection for our newest companion.
She nods towards Amelia, who merely stares at Zack. He gives her a once-over.
Isn't she a mage?
Yes, but a student.
That is not an accurate description. I am...
Leona glares at her.
A student.
While not untrue, I have fulfilled the necessary curriculum to be considered.
Amelia!
Leona is clearly exacerbated. Amelia cocks her head to the side and studies Leona curiously. Anyway, what we're trying to ask is, are you for hire and will you accept the job? Zack pauses and takes a long swig from his drink. He looks from me to Leona to Amelia, then pauses again. I need lots.
All right.
Really? That's great! We're headed to Ember Mist.
You found someone who knows the way.
Yep. I point to Amelia.
Interesting.
Alright, now that we have our team, what do we do now?
There's no point in beginning our journey when the sun is almost gone.
That's true.
I should return to the academy before my disappearance is observed.
Good idea. We can reconvene here tomorrow morning.
The three of us leave Zack alone, and Amelia heads out of the inn. Just as she leaves, a group of young adults burst in. They laugh loudly and their cheeks are flushed as if from dancing or running. A circlet of flowers is on each of their heads. Leona gasps.
Oh, the festival!
Festival?
Yeah, it's a celebration of the spring equinox. Do you want to go check it out?
Sure, why not? I'll eat stuff. Sounds fun.
It is. It's one of my favorite festivals.
We exit the inn, although the moon has traded places in the sky with the sun. The streets are still bursting with people, bustling with people. Lee and I follow the crowd until we reach Town Square. There are strings of crystalline hang from the large cherry trees lining the perimeter of the square. Their light spills soft rainbows on the smiling faces of the townsfolk. Ready. The heavenly aroma of spices and grilled meat entices me towards the festivities. A simple stand is set up on one side of the square where musicians play a jaunty tune. They tap their feet in time to the beat as dancers whirl around the center of the square. As we pass through the square, giggling girls offer circlets of flowers. Ariana happily accepts hers and lets the girl place it on her head.
It's so beautiful. Everything looks so different.
Her eyes sparkle and she taps her feet to the rhythm of the music as she watches the pairs of dancers jumping and trailing. For the first time since we've met, Leona's face holds no trace of passion. My eyes are drawn to her as her smile lights up her entire face. Ooh, the romance starts. She turns toward me, and I quickly look away. I hope she didn't catch me staring.
Would you like to dance?
Oh my god. can dance. Sorry, I can.
No worries, I'll show you.
No, I mean, I won't dance.
Aw, come on, it's easy.
If I can protest Liana grabs me,
Let me show you how we do it here.
she takes my hands in hers and puts me to a more secure area on the dance floor.
For this song, we're gonna raise our right hands up like this so they touch.
She bends her elbow, holds up her arm to eye level, then she moves my arm so it matches hers. I can feel the warmth of her fingers as they brush my own.
Our hands will stay here, and then we use our right foot to step to the right. Then left foot back. Then we'll shift our weight front and back in a ball change.
As she speaks, she demonstrates the steps.
Then we do the same thing on the left. Left foot left, right foot back, and ball change. Then we step to the right and spin from behind. Come on, try it with me.
Okay. We get into position, and Liana counts off.
5, 6, 7, 8.
First, I step. Oh, fun. A little game. Should I mess this up or what? Oh. Oops. Matching on that step with my right foot.
That's it.
Next step with my left foot to the back and do a ball change, whatever that is. Next we do the same thing on the left side, then we step with our right foot and spin. Oh yay. See what happens if I mess it up. I step with my foot to spin the right direction and bump to Liana. Sorry. She giggles.
It's okay. It's a little confusing. I'll show you again. We step to the right and spin to the back.
Try one more time and with Liana, see? I get it right.
Wow, you're a natural. Are you sure you've never done this before?
Her worm grin is infectious and I find myself grinning just as proudly. It's because I had such a great teacher. Ugh. Gag. Her cheeks flush and she's about to reply. Oh, and as she's about to reply, accuses me. Liana's breath catches in her throat and she seems to forget what she's about to say. For a second, I forget about the crowds of people around us. All I can see is her. Gee, I wonder where this is going. Then someone jostles us and we quickly look away. What just happened here? Like, what? I mean... Like, the guy's in college. Like... At this point, like, you've... Like, I know there's people who, like, haven't dated by college, but... Like... I mean, you still have, like... romantic encounters. So, like, you had feelings and stuff, and it's like... How do you not know that, like, what any of that is? I mean, like, is it me? Like, am I just like, did I just start too early or what? And I'm just like, everyone should know this? Or, I'm like, I don't get it. Anyways.
So, do you think you're ready to join the rest of the dancers?
I'm game if you are. I held out my hand and she accepted it with that same coy smile. Then I lead her out to the dance floor. You know, if he was a real, like, alpha Chad, he'd just be like, well, I'm ready to join you in your room. Yeah. Yeah, take that. And we dance ate into the night until our feet ached and our throats grew hoarse from laughing. The party is still going strong as Kauna and I return to the inn and head into our separate rooms. I haven't had that much fun in ages, but good for you. As I fall into my bed, I enter dreamland with an immense smile on my face. So lame. Oh, the next morning we regrouped downstairs at the inn as planned.
Is everyone now prepared to begin our journey? Then let us depart.
She leads the way out of the inn and back into the quiet city. Remnants of last night's festival aired around in a series of petals and general debris. The cleanup detail is hard at work. They wear thick gloves as they half-heartedly remove the decorations and debris. I wonder how long they've been working on this. The festivities continued even after I threw in my hat and went to bed. Leon and I share a glance and she smiles. Follow me, Leah, through the twists and turns of the city. Where exactly are we going now?
To the Crystal Rail Station.
Crystal Rail. Sounds like it might be a train. Leona speaks up before I even ask.
Where are we taking the crystal rail to?
Bazada.
She looks up in surprise.
Ember Mist is in Bazada?
They say you can find anything there.
She shoots like a look where she returns with his usual stony gaze. What's so surprising about Bazada?
It's just closer than I expected.
No, Ember Mist is not within Bazada, but Bazada is the closest station to the location of Ember Mist.
Leona still seems skeptical, but doesn't push it. I guess we'll find out whether or not Amelia's right. We continue the rest of the way in silence. After a few minutes, we arrive at the station. The setup is a simpler version of our train stations back home. The ticket booth is right across from the entrance. While they stare out retrieving tickets, I look around. Sort out. And vendors selling food and trinkets lined the perimeter of the enclosed space. The building will seem empty at this time of morning.
We must hurry if we wish to catch the next crystal rail. It is nearing the platform.
Once we get our tickets, we rush down the back hallway, which opens up to the platform. Arriving onto the platform is a sleek bullet train, porcelain white with windows dotting the sides. My jaw drops as I watch it hover over the tracks. A pair of long crystal rows run along the bottom of the train, with identical crystal rows lining the track. This is so cool. I feel almost giddy as we line up to board. Can't believe I'm about to ride on a hover train. Liana cocks her head to the side.
Is this not something you're used to?
Not exactly. We have trains too, but they mostly run on diesel and electricity now. The original models were powered by steam. Liana's eyes widen.
That must be some powerful magic.
That's not magic, that's just boiling water. This is magic. Anyway, the Pongo eyes the crystals on the train, his mouth open in anticipation. Liana notices and snatches him up. He wriggles at first, but after she gives him a few pats on the head, he calms down and grins at her. We're about to board the train when the attendant stops us.
Sorry, Pongas are not allowed due to equipment which are sensitive to energy absorption.
Oh,
Liana looks sadly at the blue guy in her arms.
I'm sorry, my friend, but I think this is where we say goodbye.
He blinks back at her in confusion, a worried smile on his face. Oh, Liana's lip trembles.
I'm sorry.
She gives him a final hug and sits down on the ground. Then, with glassy eyes full of tears, she rushes into the train. The Pongo blinks. Amelia cocks her head to the side and looks at it. The Pongo mimics her.
I have not known you long, but I will be saddened to see you go.
She nods and then hops onto the train. Zack looks at the Pongo and instinctively, his hand protects his guns.
Try not to eat anyone else's weapon.
The Pongo blinks at Zack's retreating form. Finally, it's my turn. I'll admit, you're not so bad. I pat him on the head. Trying not to get into too much trouble. You crazy little child thing. He fixes me that same confused stare he gave the others. Bye. So simple, just bye. I follow the others onto the train. While other people board the train, I join the rest of my group. Liana tries to control her sniffles while Amelia looks down at her feet. Zack acts as casual as always, but the nod he gives me feels lackluster. We're all feeling the loss of the Pongo. He was my first friend when I came to this world. After we've had a moment to compose ourselves, we search for our train cabin. We pass through a few cars before we finally find our cabin towards the end of the train. Amelia slides open the door, then shuts it immediately.
Impossible!
What's going on? She opens the door again, and we all peer inside. Inside the cozy cabin are plush seats, a rack above the seats to hold any luggage, and a rectangular table in the center. There is also a Pongo bouncing happily on the seats.
Pongo!
Liana squeals excitedly and scoops him back up into a big hug. We all file into the cabin after and shut the door before anyone notices the Pongo. When Liana notices our stare, she clears her throat and sets him back down.
But how did you get in here?
Seriously, weren't you just outside a second ago? How did you get in here and find our cabin before we did?
Impossible.
I think the Pongo broke Amelia. Zack, as unfazed as always, plops down into one of the seats and leans back.
Some things just can't be explained.
With how often the Pongo seems to disappear and reappear unexpectedly, you'd think we'd be used to it by now. I take a seat as well, and the Pongo hops into my lap. Liana pouts as the Pongo moves away from her. Amelia seems to have recomposed herself and also takes a seat. Not much later, I feel a jerk of the train departing and hear the calming hum of the engine. Both Liana and Amelia stare out the window. Zack has his head down and his arms crossed. I think he may be asleep, but it's hard to tell. Remembering how I found him at the campsite, I can only assume this guy can literally sleep anywhere. My eyes feel droopy too. I really went all out last night and did not get enough sleep. I doubt anyone would mind if I just caught up on a few of those hours I lost. which isn't how sleep works, I think. When I awaken, everyone else is awake too and looking more bored than ever. Only the pongo snoozes in my lap. Ooh, an evening shot. How long was I asleep for?
Just a few hours.
Are we almost there?
No. We will not arrive before tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Yeesh, what am I gonna do with all this spare time? I automatically reach into my pocket to pull out my phone, forgetting for a second that it doesn't work. Shoot. But then my hand closes in on something equally good. I pull out my deck of cards and lay them out on the table.
What do you have there?
My cards. I cut the deck and shuffle them. Wanna play something? There's enough people that we can play cheat.
How do you play that?
It's easy. Each round you'll put a card from your hand face down on the center of the table and say what card it is. Like this. I put one down as an example. One king. Then everyone else at the table can decide whether or not I'm telling the truth. If you think I'm lying, you call out cheater, and I'll have to reveal the card. If I was lying, then I take all the cards in the pile. If I was telling the truth, then whoever accused me takes all the cards in the pile, and the next person starts a new round. You win by having no cards in your hand.
Sounds like fun. I'll play.
No, it doesn't.
Although I have not partaken in this game before, this sounds like it would be a stimulating challenge.
I glance at Zach. You in? He shakes his head.
I'll pass.
The other friends.
Why not? I know that mercenaries love card games, and it's not like there's much else to do while we wait.
It's just not my type of game.
As a mercenary, I think I know what can spark his interest. What if we play for money? Zach sits up and looks at me.
I thought you didn't have money.
I do have money. I fish in my pockets and drop the loose change I have on the table. It's just not usable here. Amelia leans in close and peers at the money. Even Liana takes an interesting glance.
I fail to recognize this type of currency.
Well, I'm not exactly from Isaria. Amelia stares intently at me again. After a long pause, she looks back at the coins.
I see.
I point out the different types of change I have. Make sure you get the pennies, they're the most valuable.
Are these not made from copper?
Yes.
And the nickel would be made from nickel.
Also yes, but not really.
Then suffice it as to say, should not the nickel be more valuable than the penny?
Damn, she got me.
If it's not money I can use, then I'm not interested.
Zach,
I will pay you for his coins.
Zach sits back up.
Go on.
For any coin of his you receive, I will trade you one of our coins.
Amelia, you really don't have to do that.
I know.
Liana looks uneasily between Zach and Amelia.
All right. Deal.
As Zach seals in, I deal out the cards. Zach frowns when he looks at his hand.
These cards are strange.
Like I said, I'm not from Isaria. I give a brief rundown of the suits and face cards. When I look up from my hand, I see Amelia staring at me. This is getting a little uncomfortable. Let's start the bet. We all throw our coins on the table. I'll go first. I drop a card face down on the table. 110. Silence, no one reacts. Okay, Leona, it's your go.
Okay.
She slides a card onto the table, her face completely blank.
1, 2.
Yes. I wish she's telling the truth. Nobody else calls her out either. Amelia's go. Her face even more stoic than Leona's, Amelia places a card onto the table.
1 queen.
I don't think she's cheating. Again, neither does anyone else. Maybe they aren't quite understanding how to play. Although I guess it is just the first round. Finally, attacks go. In usual Zack fashion, he stoically sips the card down.
2 8s.
Cheater.
Whoa, she was fast. Without breaking from his poker face, he flips over the cards to reveal different cards than 8s. Silently, he collects the pile. We count how many cards each person has in their hands, and whoever has the lowest number so far collects the first round of bets. Then we throw in our next round of bets. Okay, me again. Better stick with truth. Show tell. Maybe I should mess with them a little. I purposely let it slip on my face that I might be lying. 2 3s. Leona calls me out.
Cheater!
I flip over my cards to reveal 2 3s.
You tricked me.
I grin as she grabs the cards. Leona looks slightly worried at her hand and smooths her face. Yeah.
2 aces.
I bet she was faking her way and is telling the truth. Better not risk it.
Cheater.
Leona grins as she flips over 2 aces that wordlessly collects the cards. Good thing I stayed silent. Amelia puts down her cards.
2 7s.
Her poker face is just too good. I can't tell if she's thinking or not, so I'm gonna stay silent. Nobody else calls her out. Without delay, Zack lays down his cards.
2 5s.
Before anyone else has a chance to react, Amelia calls out.
Cheater.
Zack rumbles under his breath as he collects the pile. Amelia looks smug at Zack's disgruntledness. The bet for this round goes to the winner, and we start a new pot. Back to me. Time to trick everyone. Poker face. I drain all emotion from my face and place a card onto the table. 1 king.
Cheater.
I thought I had everyone fooled. Amelia's pretty good at this. Which is kinda strange, isn't it? I flip my card to reveal a 2 of hearts. Leona lays down her card to gain confidence.
1 king.
She probably does have that card since I didn't. I better not call her out.
Cheater.
And it grins and quickly flip over the card to reveal a king. Zack frowns as he collects the cards. Amelia wears the same stony face and sips down a card.
1 jack.
Again, I can't give a read on her, so I fall back on keeping quiet. Zack plays his card.
1 6.
I Again, Amelia is faster than anyone else.
Cheater.
Zack growls in frustration.
How do you know every single time?
Amelia just stares at him with her same blank stare, which frustrates Zack even more.
This is the dumbest game ever.
Yeah, it is pretty dumb. He throws his cards down on the table and knocks over the coins before crossing his arms. Liana jumps away from the table as Zack hits it, her eyes wide. I'm a little taken aback and jolt back, which wakes the Pongo. Only Amelia remains unfazed.
Boy, boy?
So, should we keep playing?
Of course.
Zack picks his cards up. Leon and I glance at each other and burst out laughing. At first, Amelia looks at us in bewilderment, but our laughter is so contagious that she breaks a smile.
Are we playing or what?
We resume the game with smiles all around. The longer we played, the more into the game everyone became. Needless to say, Amelia correctly guessed Zack's cheat every single time, much to Zack's ever-growing frustration. In the end, I won the game, with the first to run out of cards. When we were tired of cheat, I taught them a couple of other games. It was late into the night when we all decided to turn in and go to sleep. Wait, I just realized why that game is dumb. Because all you have to do is always tell the truth. Like, yeah, because if you're telling the truth and someone accuses you of lying, then you show your card and you're telling the truth, then they take the cards. But if they call you cheater and you were lying, then you take the cards. But there's no incentive for you to lie, because if you just keep telling the truth, each round, you always lose a card, like, no matter what. Like, the only way for other players to get a card, like, yeah, that's so dumb. That doesn't make, like, any amount of sense. Because there's no way to give a person that's telling the truth more cards. Like, unless they guess that someone else is a cheat and get it wrong. But all that does... But see, like... But then you just don't do anything. You don't accuse anyone either. And you just keep losing cards. Because if you take the risk of accusing someone, and like, say you're right, like, okay, they get more cards. So it makes them... So it just takes them longer to get to 0 cards. And sets them behind you. But you just have to keep laying down cards and telling the truth. And then you don't lose. That is really dumb. That is probably the worst fake card game I've ever heard of. I know it's kind of based on, like, another card game where, like, you draw cards and place them on your forehead so that other people can see them. But it's different because it's relying on other people, I think, to tell you what your card is, and then you tell, and you say if they're lying or not, and then whether you're right or wrong determines who gets that card. or something. I know there's a real card game like that, but this one was way dumber. Alright, anyways. Everyone goes to sleep. The sun shines brightly through the window and splashes on my face, forcing me awake. Leona and Amelia are both already awake, but Zack still has his head down as if he's still asleep. I look outside and squint at the sky. What time is it?
It's already past noon. We slept through the entire morning.
For once, sounds nice. We did?
Normally that would be a bad thing, but in this case it's okay. We're almost at Bazada.
Zack gradually wakes up and we all make sure we have all of our things. After another hour or two, the train stops and announces our arrival at Bazada. However, they say the sun hangs high in the sky as one by one we step off the train. As soon as I set foot in the city, I'm assaulted by the sound of voices. Makeshift stalls line the sides of roads and alleys as people pack the streets. Traders entice onlookers to view their wares and customers haggle in heated shouting matches. Are we going to have to travel through that? I blanch at the thought of getting trapped amidst a sea of people like sardines in a can.
We have arrived in Basada.
Is where we'll find Evermist?
No, as I said, it is the closest city to Embermist.
Considering the bustle of this place, I find it a little hard to believe that the hidden city is so close. No wonder Leona seemed so surprised. I mean, how dumb are these people? She obviously means that, like, they're gonna have to leave the city to find it. Not like it's like freaking sitting on the border or something. So stupid. Amelia seems to read my thoughts.
Of course, close is a relative term. We must first traverse some rough terrain and pass through the forest before we find Evermist.
Okay, yeah, see, there we go. Jeez. She points further south, where I can make out the tips of treetops, and then she glances up at the sky.
Considering only a few hours remain before nightfall, it may be in our best interest to spend the evening here in the city and depart in the morning.
Yeah, that's...
Good thinking. This marketplace is so huge. People say you can literally buy your heart's desires here.
Is there something you're thinking of buying?
Nothing in particular, but I would like to check out the stalls. Traders from all over the world gather here to sell their wares. Hoi!
I glance down at my feet and watch the pongo wiggle its excitedly. He casts hungry looks into the crowd. Is there a lot of magic here? I haven't seen this guy so excited since he first tried to eat me. Amelia bends down and scrutinizes him. She pokes him with a finger, and the pongo giggles.
Hi, boy!
I'm going to the inn. I'll meet up with you later.
Before any of us can react, Zack slips into the crowd. Should we go after him? Amelia doesn't even blink at Zack's departure. She's too preoccupied with the pongo. Leona shakes her head.
No, but since Zack left, I'm going to go too. Should we meet back up at the inn?
Sure, sounds good. She nods and heads into the crowd. Since everyone else seems to know what they want to do, then what do I want to do? Just be alone or just whatever. I'm ready for a little bit of me time. I head into the crowds and appreciate all the marketplace has to offer. After exploring the city, I meet up with the rest of the group back at the inn. Tensions are high as we eat in silence. I think everyone is a mixture of weariness and anxiety for the next leg of our journey. Even the Pongo is strangely silent and obedient. Once we finish eating, we head upstairs to find our rooms. Upon finding her room, Leona suddenly perks up.
Oh, Amelia, you and I will be sharing a room tonight.
Amelia speaks dismissively.
Naturally. That would be more appropriate than the alternative.
She pauses and looks at Leona with interest.
Are you insinuating that you would rather share a bedroom with them?
What? Amelia points to Zack and me. How is that insinuated?
What? No! Of course not!
Oh, my mistake. Of course you could not have met both of them. There aren't nearly enough beds. You must have meant him.
Amelia points to me. Leona's face turns pink and she shakes her head.
Amelia! That's not true!
If that is false, then why is your face red?
The point is, I'd obviously rather share a room with you.
If that is the case, then why even bring it up?
Because I'm excited. It'll be nice to have some girl time.
Amelia studies Leona than that.
I concur. Sharing a room has proven to strengthen bonds amidst peers and foster camaraderie.
You mean, make friends?
Precisely.
Leona grins and Amelia smiles back.
Poi?
This character is very weird. We all glance down at the Pongo by our feet. Is it my imagination, or is he trying to ask us which room is he going to sleep in tonight? Amelia snatches him up in her arms.
The Pongo needs to spend the night with us tonight. We need him for science.
As Amelia sleeps into their bedroom, Leona nods rapidly,
Yes, for science.
then follows Amelia into the room and slams the door shut. There's a moment of silence as Zack and I stare at the closed door.
Is it just me, or did that seem unusually suspicious to you?
Very. Is the Pongo really that special? For some reason I feel like we missed out by not securing the Pongo. Zack shakes his head.
More like we dodged a blast.
Don't you mean bullet?
Bullet?
I guess idioms don't translate well here. I mean, you obviously know bullets don't exist here. Wait. Never mind. Still baffled by what happened, Zack and I enter our room and get ready for bed. Although the train was more comfortable than I expected, I cannot compare it to a real bed. As I snuggle into the blankets, I soon drift into a restful slumber. Zack and I awaken at dawn and silently go about preparing for the day. As I grab a few items off my bed, I look over at Zack, who is fiddling with his gun. The guy sure gives his discharger a lot of attention. Morning. He glances up and nods.
I'm heading down. Meet me there when you're ready.
Okay. Zack shoulders her back and leaves. This is probably the quietest morning I've had so far. It's a little strange. I pack up the last of my things and follow Zack downstairs where I find him waiting alone. Where are Leona and Amelia? He checks.
Still getting ready, I guess.
Okay. That's unusual. Leona is generally the first one up. We wait a couple more minutes before the girls finally show up carrying the pongo with them. Amira smiles slightly at the pongo, who grins back. Those two seem to be in a good mood. Liana, on the other hand, looks exhausted. Shall we get going? Sucklets.
We should move on so we don't lose any daylight.
Suck looks over at Amelia, who rummages through her bag. Eventually, she pulls out a map. I glance at the carefully detailed mountains and rivers. Suddenly, I'm missing my GPS.
We will proceed eastward through the forest adjacent to Bazada. From there, we will travel northbound towards the Sonoa Mountains.
Her finger scrolls across the different locations.
Assuming there are no divergences in the course, we should arrive in Ember Mist by midday. Any inquiries?
Amelia folds the map and glances at the rest of us. We all look at each other.
Then let us begin our journey.
She leads the way out the inn and through the streets of Basara. Even this early in the morning, the marketplace is still bustling with people. Carefully traversing the streets and alleys, the crowd begins to thin as we reach the city borders. Amelia consults her map, then continues out of the city. Oh, it's just like me. I always have to check my maps. Without the high cover of the stalls, I blink at the clear blue sky. In the distance, I can see the dark, leafy cover of trees. That must be where we're going. Once we reach the forest, I'm surprised by how much shade the leaves provide. The branches are strong, and the leaves are thick, exposing pockets of sunshine. The pocket for the sun. Amelia keeps the map on hand, as there are no trails. Aside from a few other stragglers exploring the woods, I can hear the scurry of woodland animals. With so much color and so few people, this would be the perfect opportunity for a bandit ambush. I look towards Zack and Liana, who both seem unconcerned. I guess it wouldn't make sense for bandits to hide out in the forest, which is mostly devoid of people. They aren't carrying any cargo either, so there's even less of a reason to attack us. The deeper we travel into the woods, the thicker the canopy of leaves become, nearly blocking out all the sunlight. All the other people have long gone, and even the rustle of bushes have become quiet. The pongo nestles even deeper into Amelia's arms. Liana shivers and wraps her arms around herself in a hug. I'm sure she's fine. I should mind my own business. It's probably nothing. The forest continues to block out even more light. Soon, it becomes so dark we can barely see what's in front of us.
Are you sure we're going the right way?
So dark. Amelia pulls a torch out of her bag in response. She touches her fingers to the tip of the torch, and her bracelet glows. Then the torch erupts into flames.
Indeed, there is no need for alarm. The darkness merely indicates we're about to enter the Forest of Sorrows.
Forest of Sorrows?
I'm surprised by Liana's outburst. Her face is deathly pale.
Do we have to go through here? There must be an alternate route.
Amelia shakes her head.
Ember Mist can only be accessed through these woods.
Liana grins.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
What's up with the Forest of Sorrows? I mean, it sounds spooky enough, but is it really that bad?
It is rumored that those who venture into the Forest of Sorrows never come out.
They never come out?
The reason people are unable to escape is because they hear the voices of the loved ones they have lost. They fruitlessly search for their loved ones, losing their way, chasing the wailing of the spectrals.
No! Amelia, stop! We can travel through this stupid place if we have to, but no more of this story stuff that isn't true and can't be true, so it's not true!
Although Leona tries to put on a brave front, her voice grows shriller the longer she talks. Right. Amelia nods.
Then let us continue.
She turned to Zack. You think all that stuff about the Forest of Sorrows is possible?
It doesn't matter if I think it's possible, because it's the truth.
Zack! Stop!
As Leona turns away, Zack cracks a fleeting smile before resuming his stony stare. The trees have now lost their cozy feel completely, and the thick, old, and withered. The eerie silence is deafening, and each crunch of leaves beneath our feet reminds me of the inevitability of death and decay. Well, that got... jeez. I keep seeing flashes of beady eyes peering amid the branches. The squawk of crows pierces the silence, making me jump. Instinctively, I pick up the pace, as does everyone else. Leona grows increasingly agitated.
Are you sure we're going the right way? I swear that I've seen that.
A cold gust of wind extinguishes the torch. Leona latches onto my arm and pulls it close to her chest. Her eyes are squeezed shut, and she buries her face against me. The light returns as Amelia relights the torch. Leona peeps the night open and glances down at my arm, and where it rests on her chest. Her cheeks burn as hot as the torch, and she quickly drops my arm.
Sorry,
She trails off as her blush deepens. I bet her nerves from the forest and the awkwardness of grabbing me is making her flustered. She might be more comfortable holding on to me, but that's an equally awkward suggestion. Well, pull her in close. That's like... that's a real... that... I know it's supposed to be romantic, but that just feels so skeezy. It's like... it's like, yeah, come here, girly. Yeah, that's not cool. Whatever, she let go. Let's just move on. No worries, let's keep going. She nods.
right.
Zack waits impatiently, a few paces ahead of us.
Can we move on?
Affirmative.
We all hurry to catch up with Zack and continue through the forest. No wonder people get lost. This place feels like it's endless. Gradually, the darkness fades away as the trees are illuminated by an ethereal glow. As the blue and green light chases away the shadows, my mood begins to lift. The trees still look ancient but full of wisdom and secrets instead of bad omens. The Pungo squirms wildly in Amelia's arm. He wriggles free and hops around in glee. As he hops, he opens his mouth wide, but loses his balance and blinks as he falls on his head. After a few more confused seconds, he shakes himself and tries again. There must be a lot of magic in here.
We have made it through the Forest of Sorrows.
Leona sighs in relief.
Finally.
So Ember Mist is close.
The natural concentration of crystal energy would indicate we are on the correct path.
The crystals must be what the blue and green glow is from.
What do you mean, on the correct path? Haven't you traveled here before?
Amelia shakes her head.
No, this is my first journey.
You mean you had us travel through the Forest of Sorrows without knowing for sure that it would lead us to Ember Mist?
That is correct.
Well, we did make it through. And if we do reach Ember Mist, then she would have delivered on her promise.
Zack nods at Amelia, who looks curiously at him. Well, deep inside, it looks like she's reworking a previous analysis of him. Then she nods back. Leona opens her mouth to argue, but stops.
I suppose it doesn't matter now that we're almost there.
On that conclusion, let us continue.
We trail behind Amelia, the Pongo blissfully hopping along as she navigates us out of the rest of the forest. Ember Mist lies just beyond the edge of the forest, and soon we approach the heavy gates of the city. 2 tan men with leather armor and carved wooden stoves inlaid with rough crystal stand guard. Their staves are crossed and the light seems to shimmer as it catches the negative space between the staves. Is that some kind of magic?
Please state your business.
As students from the Mage Academy, we seek an audience with Elder Isim.
They look us over and I shift uncomfortably under their gaze. Their blank eyes seem to burrow deep into my soul. They close their eyes and the red crystals inlaid in their staves glow. The translucent glimmers increase. After a few minutes, they reopen their eyes and remain silent. I glance at Leona, who looks back at me. I whisper, "Are they going to let us in?" She shakes her head uncertainly. Zack crosses his arms, but otherwise doesn't seem bothered by the situation. Amelia stands confidently and waits patiently. I guess things are going according to her plan. Just when I can no longer bear the silence, a figure steps out from behind the gates. He's an old, scrawly man with a set of glasses which slip down his hook nose. He wears a faded and wrinkled open robe.
Elder Isim.
Yes? Who is it?
I am Amelia Stout from the Mage Academy, and these are my associates.
The Mage Academy, you say?
He adjusts the glasses on his nose and peers at Amelia.
Yes. Yes.
One by one, he peers at the rest of us. He barely glances Zack, but looks at Leona with interest when he recognizes her guild emblem. Finally, his gaze lingers on me, almost as if he's trying to place me, but can't.
Well, come on in then. No point in standing around.
The guards break away as he beckons us in, and the translucent shimmers disappear. After we pass through the gates, I look back right before the gates close and see the guards resume their original position. Elder Isim shuffles along the dirt path and leads us through the quaint village. The villagers tend to wear plain, loose-fitting tunics. Aside from the guards, most people don't carry weapons, although many of them do wear simple bracelets embedded with crystals. We soon arrive at a strangely architecturally stable day hut. As we enter, I covertly touch the walls. It reminds me of unglazed ceramic tiles. We settle down on white cushions on the floor.
How were you able to find this place?
Through you.
Eh?
Amelia pulls out a worn tome. Where has she been keeping that this whole time?
My old research. I thought I'd lost this.
As Elder Isim carefully turns the pages of the tome, Leona clears her throat.
We were told you can help us.
By whom?
Professor Xavier.
Elder seems to let out a loud laugh.
Xavier is a professor now. Good for him. I've been out of touch with Haven God and Lumia for many years. I'm not sure how I can help.
Diana fills him in on all that's happened so far, beginning with the spiked energy readings and ending with Professor Xavier's advice. She keeps the story simple and straight to the point, carefully limiting the fact that I am not from this world. Elder seemingly listens thoughtfully, but grows more excited the longer Liana talks.
The temporal rifts. It's been so long since I really researched them. I'm afraid I've been rather distracted. Still, someone is here hoping to discuss these theories, and I'm more than happy to talk about them. Where should we start?
As I'm about to enter, a deep rumble beneath the earth stops me. What was that?
Oh, just the volcano. Nothing to worry about.
Oh, is that all? Oh, okay, fine then. Oops. Yep, rip us. If the volcano were to erupt, we wouldn't have time to escape anyway. Guess this is our fate.
There's no need to look so concerned. The volcano will not erupt. This is the first sign of activity it has shown in thousands of years.
Oh, well, that's fine then, absolutely. Isn't that concerning?
Perhaps if it were any other volcano, but this particular volcano is in the domain of the fire elemental who protects us all.
This fire elemental of which you speak, are you referencing the ancients?
Precisely.
The ancients are only a story.
Who are the ancients?
They are the elements of Asaria. The magic which we have learned to manipulate are the gifts left behind from the ancients.
That's how the legend goes.
You are mistaken. They are not a legend.
Liana looks uncertain, while Zek scowls.
You still believe in those stories?
I believe in the research. An elder Ism has accumulated plenty of it.
Then where have the elementals been all this time?
We all return our focus to the Elder.
I suppose I do have a few theories on that as well. But the elements are a lot trickier than temporal rifts. The story of the ancients is so old, it predates our understanding of crystals and spheres. That's why most societies have forgotten about them and brushed them off as a legend. The people in this village, though, have not forgotten. When I arrived, I was purely focused on finding the fire temple for research purposes. But the longer I stayed, the more my focus strayed from the temporal rifts to the ancients themselves. If you believe that the cause of those random energy spikes are the result of temporal rifts, perhaps that is the link to the return of the elementals to Asaria.
So what does that mean exactly? He shakes his head.
It's
Wait.
hard to say. We don't know why they left in the first place. My guess is that something was keeping them occupied in the spirit world. Perhaps whatever that is was set free by the rifts.
Mila hangs onto Elder seems every word. Liana absentmindedly fills with her manipulator deep in thought. Only Zach seems skeptical of this conversation. This sounds really complicated and not something that can be solved in a few hours. We need to get back on track. How do I get home? To get back to the original topic on hand. Others seem nuts.
The temporal rifts, yes.
How would one go about creating a rift?
Well, that will be difficult. You'll need an incredible amount of energy, more than any one human can create. the only places with that much concentration of energy is in the temples of the elementals.
Well then, you said that there was one in the village.
Yes, the fire temple is here in Ember Mist.
Great. My body goes warm as hope floods through my veins. You might want to get that checked. This is good. I finally have a way home.
To be more precise, it's on the outskirts of the village, built on the side of the volcano, but it's not a far walk.
Then that's where we need to go.
Yana pushes herself to her feet, and the rest of us do the same. As Elderton raises, his face falls.
Leaving so soon? I was hoping we'd have a longer chance to chat. I have so many questions about Illumia and the Academy. As you can imagine, one does not get a lot of news of the outside world here.
Perhaps upon our return.
Yes, of course. Well, you best be on your way then.
Elder Issam, it was truly an honor to meet you.
Emilia takes flesh as Elder Issam grins. She must really respect him. In that moment, I realized just how small and dainty she looks. I sometimes forget how young she is compared to the rest of us. We all say our goodbyes and then exit the hut. Once outside, we scan the horizon, trying to orient ourselves towards the volcano.
Excuse me.
I roll around and come face to face with a woman wearing just enough fabric to cover her essentials and nothing more. Her long brown hair is tied up in a ponytail, which falls down her neck and frames her very ample chest. Essential character description. The plot thickens. She embodies my dreams, just like every scantily clad video game character. Not really the response I was going for. My eyes are drawn to her chest. Ah yes, this feels very familiar.
Distracted by something?
I snap out of my trance and notice her craning her hands on her hips. Wait. I feel the heat of someone's gaze. I glance over and see Liana frowning deeply. While our gaze meets, she quickly looks away.
Who are you?
Zack steps in front of Amelia, who frowns and steps away. I guess he's taking this bodyguarding business really seriously. Liana holds herself stiffly, ready to move if necessary. The woman salutes.
Car Noir, treasure hunter extraordinaire.
Zack narrows his eyes.
What do you want with us?
Well, I couldn't help but overhear that you're interested in the fire temple.
How did you hear us when we were inside?
She taps her nose knowingly.
I have very sensitive hearing.
I fail to understand how our interests are of relevance to you.
I was just getting to that. You see, I've come to offer an extension of friendship.
Both Liana and Zack raise an eyebrow.
Or at least an extension of mutual benefit.
Okay.
It's true that the villagers maintain the fire temple, but from what I've discovered, they are unaware of the temple's secret passage. If you're interested in the energy of the temple, I can guarantee that's where you'll find it.
If the villagers don't know about the secret passage, how did you find it?
It's all a part of the treasure hunting gig. You have to be looking for it to find it.
Kara winks and gives us a thumbs up.
The best part is that I've already disarmed or made a note of most of the traps in there.
There are traps in this temple?
The temples are a sanctuary for the elementals, but any place that is easily accessible is sure to attract all types. There are measures set in place to protect the spirit from those who wish to harm it.
Like I said, I've disarmed most of the traps, but not all. There is one magical barrier at the end of the tunnel which I've not yet been able to pass. I don't have magic, but you do.
She gestures to Liana and Amelia.
If you can magic that barrier away, then that's at least one step closer to finding your energy.
Zack crosses his arms and glares at Kara. Kara?
How does
What
that
was it?
benefit you?
It was Kara. Kara Noir. She grunts.
All I'm interested in are the artifacts and relics. From the sounds of it, you guys are more interested in something else, hence mutually beneficial. So, what do you think?
I look at the rest of my group. Courtesy, we huddle closer together and whisper. And look, does it really matter? Does any of this matter? Or I'll just leaves in the wind or something, I don't know. Who cares if she joins or not? She's not interested in the elemental or the energy. If she doesn't go with us, she'll just go after we've broken the barrier.
You do have a point.
I must concede that I am impressed by her resourcefulness. It is plainly evident that she is not a native to Embermist, which means she somehow discerned the location on her own.
Did she say discerned? Like... That's a really good point.
As a treasure hunter, her tracking skills could come in handy in the future.
We all stare at Zack, he shrugs.
Do what you want.
That sounds like a yes to me. Zack doesn't respond, he just fixes his steely gaze on me.
So, does this mean we're agreed to join up with Kara?
Yeah, man. The Pongo sits in the middle of our circle and blinks happily. Where do you even go when you're in hiding?
Boy. Let's go tell Kara.
We turn around and Kara stands right behind Liana. Her face only inches away. Liana lets out a startled gasp. Geez, what is she, some kind of ninja? Kara rips her hands excitedly.
All right! This will be fun!
Wait, we didn't give you our answer yet.
Oh, sorry.
She steps back and gestures for Liana to continue. Liana speaks awkwardly. I guess she feels a little silly saying what Kara somehow already knows. And she already said she has a great hearing. Even though that was like probably taken as a joke. I mean, she like just said that.
Well, we decided to take you up on your offer.
Excellent! Since we're going to be working together, first things first. You all know my name, but I don't know yours.
I'm Liana.
Mage Knight from the guild?
I am Amelia Estelle, a mage caster from the Mage Academy.
A student to become a mage caster? But you look just like a teenager.
Amelia cocks her head to the side.
It is natural that my physical appearance would represent my age.
She looks at Amelia with respect.
That is pretty impressive. Who's next?
She looks at Zack.
Zack.
Very clearly a mercenary.
And I'm David. Her green eyes study me, and although she's very clearly examining me, I don't feel uncomfortable under her stare.
Now that that's out of the way.
Boy.
Kara steps back and views the Pongo by my feet.
You have a bongo! How cute!
She reaches down and pats him on the head. He beams at her touch.
And what's your name?
Boy.
She glances at the rest of us, but none of us make a move to answer.
Oh, is he not a part of your group?
He is. Sort of.
And you haven't named him yet?
Liana eyes shift her uncomfortably. Zack remains unchanged while Amelia frowns.
A Pongo is a wild creature.
Kara straightens and pats Amelia on the head, much to her dismay.
If you say so. Okay, are we ready to get going?
We memorize it, and then Kara leads us out of the city. As we walk, another ominous rumble sends butterflies to my stomach. I can't shake off the feeling that we are literally walking into a fire. I glance at the others who seem unfazed. I guess it's just me. Pushing my insecurities down, I silently follow the group towards the temple. Just as Elder Sim noted, the temple is a short walk out of the village on a well-worn dirt path. The road is mostly empty, with only one or two travelers coming back towards the village. The temple is an open structure with a roaring fire in the middle of a grand hall. It looks nice. High columns with flames carved into them hold up the building. Adorning the stone walls are beautiful tiled mosaics. There's one wall with some strange symbols scratched on them. They're very faded, and I have to squint to make it out. I just realized something. Oh no, wait. Okay. From what I can make out, 4 symbols surround a darkness in a square with a line of fire enclosing the perimeter, trapping the darkness in the center. Huh, I wonder what this is. Amelia glances over it and peers at the carving.
Those symbols represent each of the magical elements.
She points to each one.
There is fire, water, earth, and wind.
And she points to the center.
And that is shadow.
I've never considered shadow an element before.
It is one of the elemental magics.
Arasaka and Liana have already moved on, so the rest of us hustle to catch up. Besides us, the only other people in the temple are the monks who care for it. They're dressed in woven red robes in the same open and loose style as the villagers from Ember Mist. Quietly, they shuffle back and forth, sweeping the floor, or relaying any of the smaller fires which have burned low.
Hi.
Boy. The Pongo looks around in wonder and reverence. At the sight of the giant flame, he squeaks and hops up on me, claiming his spot on my shoulder. Kara bows briefly before the large flame then leads us to the back of the chamber and stops in front of an empty wall.
We're here!
6 eyes. Kara might be a little out there, but I don't get the impression that she's stupid. There must be more to the wall than first meets the eye. I mean, it is a secret passage, so... Is there a mechanism hidden somewhere which triggers a doorway? Kara's eyes glitter.
Bingo!
With her gaze fixed on this, Kara pushes on a brick, and a segment of the wall pushes in and swings open. She waves at the opening with a flourish.
Ta-da!
How would you know which brick to push in?
It usually depends, but in this case, there's one brick that sticks out slightly more than the others. If you aren't looking for it, you won't see it.
She heads to the opening and pushes the wall closed behind us. Then she leads us down a winding stone stairway, which ends at the beginning of a narrow passage. We file in behind her as she carefully picks her way down the hall. It's a very plain stone hallway with wall sconces lighting the way. I look down at my feet and notice a brick with an X marked on it. I have a feeling this X didn't make its way onto the stone by itself. I better not touch it. Gingerly, I step around the brick. A few feet away, I spot another X. Is anyone else seeing these random X's? Kara glances back.
I should hope so. I left those there so as not to set off the same traps again.
Makes sense. We resume walking. And like you kind of have told us that the X's were for traps. I mean, I guess maybe it seems obvious, but the deeper we travel, the more X's I notice. Oh wow, there are a lot of traps in here. Zack pauses in front of a corridor where the walls are covered in X's.
Why are there so many X's on this wall?
Kara looks down the same passageway.
Oh, it's a two-part trap.
She points to the ground, stone on the ground with the same X marking.
Basically, if you step on the ground stone, it triggers thick bars to shoot out from all the X's in the wall and block the path.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Only if you know how to limbo. The bars have something keeping them hot and will burn you if you touch it.
Okay, that sounds worse.
And you were able to cross that?
Kara winks.
I am very limber.
Kara looks at Zack with interest. Amelia looks between Zack and Kara.
Based on the dilation of Zack's pupils, it appears that Kara's flexibility is attractive to him.
Zack is taken aback.
I was just thinking that it's a useful skill set to have.
Kara has a mischievous glint in her eyes.
Useful skill set to have? In what context?
For scouting and navigating, you've done a thorough job mapping this place out and marking the traps.
Leona looks amused.
Zack, was that a compliment?
He glares at Leona.
No, an observation.
Kara smiles playfully.
Then thank you for the observation.
Zack falls into silence before turning away. I think that's the most I've ever heard him talk in a 30-second span. We continue through the tunnels. Eventually, she stops in front of another a fire in the middle of the hall.
The barrier's here.
She gestures at the swirling metallic wall behind the wall. The way that it glitters as it wisps and curls almost looks like a fire. Leona and Amelia step closer and inch their hands in front of them before gingerly touching the barrier.
It's surprisingly solid for something that looks so gaseous. Maybe there's some wind magic interwoven with whatever other magic is here.
The Pongo hops forward with stars in his eyes.
Boy.
He dashes straight for the barrier.
Pongo, wait!
I stretch out my arm and race after him. Pongo, no! Instead of running into a wall, the Pongo passes straight through and out of sight. How did he go through? How was he able to get through if none of us can? Kara gapes wide-eyed at the barrier.
I have no idea.
No! Pongo!
Leona looks equally shocked, but for a completely different reason.
We have to find a way to save him! Who knows what could have happened to him when he went through?
She presses up against the barrier and calls out again.
Pongo?
Boy?
A blue head pops out of the barrier. What? He hops the rest of the way out.
Boy.
Leona scoops him up in a hug.
Pongo! You're back safe!
Boy.
After a second, the Pongo wiggles out of her arms and rushes back over to me. Leona pounces, then refocuses on the barrier. Amiya places both of her hands back on the barrier, while Liana holds out her manipulator.
Whatever is beyond this wall hosts a plethora of energy.
My manipulator confirms that. No wonder the Pongo ran in there.
So I continue stepping back and observe Bakara steps closer to the barrier.
But how did he even pass through?
Liana shrugs. Amiya continues studying the wall, moving their hands up and down.
I do not recognize this magic.
She frowns, deeply disturbed.
Is there anything you can do to break it?
Let's see.
Liana and Amiya both put their hands on the barrier, their manipulators glowing. They each transmit pulses of magic which disperse across the surface in a shimmering wave. I think they're just trying to create stress fractures to crack the wall. After a few tries, Liana sighs in frustration, then steps back.
Amelia, stand back.
She wordlessly obeys. Liana gathers energy at her gauntlet, then strikes the barrier with an empowered strike. Suddenly, golden lettering forms on the barrier. Absolve your world to enter mine. Oh, what does that mean? No one answers. Amelia steps forward and focuses on the well of flickering flame.
If I am interpreting this message correctly, we must part with our most precious possession, our world, and throw it in the fire.
Liana nods thoughtfully.
Kind of like we're freeing ourselves.
Kara's face drains of color and she clutches at her back.
Are you sure?
Yes.
We stand around awkwardly until Liana clears her throat.
If that's what we need to do, then it seems easy enough. I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead. I notice Liana steps up to the fire. She reaches below her collar and sips a thin gold chain off her neck, and then throws it into the flames. Taking a deep breath, she steps straight through the barrier. It worked! I'll go next. I step up to the fire. What do I choose? Pongo. My waifu, what? Oh my god. I have to see what that says. That sounds too stupid. And probably too accurate. Unfortunately, I do not have a waifu at this time. Okay. Guess the playing cards, they sucked anyways. I fish inside my pockets and grab my playing cards. I've had a lot of good memories with these cards. They helped me break the ice with every move I made. I know I can count on them whenever the words fail me. Reluctantly, I toss them into the fire and watch the flames lap it up. Then I steal my resolve and step forward. Just as I reach the barrier, I slam painfully into it. Ow. Well, that didn't work. And I just burned my cards for no good reason.
You sure messed that up.
Can I do it again?
Normally you only get one chance for these things, but it's not like you've got anything to lose by trying again.
Take the wallet, I guess. Grab my wallet, my entire identity is in here. My license, student ID, and credit cards. The thought of parting with it makes my chest hurt. Reluctantly, I toss it into the fire and watch the flames step it up. Then still resolve. Blah blah. As I cross through, I feel a tingle of energy and hear the crackle of electricity. There's a bright light blinding my vision, and I have a flashback of my crossing to Terra. My foot lands on solid ground. I pass through the barrier unharmed. Gradually, my eyes adjust to the dim light, and I see that I'm in a cozy room. In the middle of the room is a fox, who swishes its tail as if there's me. Beside it is a beautiful woman with flaming red hair. Her delicate hand rests atop of the fox's head. As I look her over, her gaze lands on me. Who are you? The woman blinks at me, then smiles. For a second, I think I see the flames lighting the room flicker, and the warmth permeates my body. It's pleasant, like an embrace. Although she holds my gaze, she doesn't speak. How did you get in here? Again, she remains silent, but this time she takes a step closer.
Who are you talking to? I peek behind the woman and see Zack standing with an eyebrow raised and his arms crossed. The rest of my companions pause in their inspection of the room and stare at me. Kara stands beside an altar while Amelia and Leanna are both kneeling by the fox. The fox accepts their attention, rhythmically swishing its tail, but otherwise makes no move to respond. Instead, it fixes its attention on me. Are you talking to the fox?
No. I don't think I can see her. I fall silent as the group casts me worried glances.
Who exactly are you seeing?
There's a woman dressed in red, and she's kind of flaming, and she's standing right there with her pet firefox. Leanna looks towards the fox, but her eyes glaze right over the woman. She furrows her brows, concerned.
Okay.
Her voice is gentle, like she doesn't want to spook me. None of you guys can see her? The group collectively shakes their heads. I don't know why you guys can't see her, but I promise you she's there.
Boy.
The Pongo hops out from behind my legs. He first examines the woman with partial interest, then he stares in wonder at the fox.
Boy?
The fox cocks its head to the side and observes the Pongo. The Pongo perks up and cautiously bounces forward. He pauses right before the fox. The fox's nose wiggles as it sniffs at the Pongo. Then it swishes its tail and the Pongo squeaks before running back behind my legs.
Boy.
Wait, do you see her too?
Boy.
The woman giggles at the Pongo and gently pats his head. He shivers happily at her touch. Then she straightens up and takes a step closer. Her feet don't touch the ground and her skirt floats ethereally behind her. Instinctively, I back away.
What's going on?
She's getting closer, a lot closer. She pauses when she draws near and touches her palm to my forehead. A pulse of warmth flows through me before she retracts her hand. As if something inside me clicked open, I feel invigorated with restored strength. The stronger I feel, the more translucent the woman becomes. Soon, she disappears. The Pongo stares at me with renewed interest. It reminds me of that same look he gave me when we first met. He licks his lips. Don't even think about it.
Boy.
The Pongo pouts and lets out a sad sigh. Kara waves her hands in front of my face.
Hey, are you okay? You kind of zoned out there for a second.
I think I'm fine.
What happened?
I'm not too sure.
Where's the woman now?
Actually, she's gone.
Amelia reacts to my words by playing with her bracelets. She holds her manipulator up to me.
Curious. I may have a theory.
What is it?
All the energy which had accumulated here has now gathered within you.
I blink as it takes me a minute to register what she just said. Wait, I absorbed the energy? That can't be right.
As I mentioned, it is merely a theory.
Leona looks intrigued.
How is that possible?
I know, I felt it after she touched me. Leona's eyes widen.
I wouldn't phrase it like that.
Not in a weird way, she just touched my forehead, and suddenly I felt a rush of energy. Amelia stares hard at me. Why are you looking at me like that?
I am merely anticipating the imminent reaction.
Reaction to what?
The high concentration of energy you just absorbed. The human body was not meant to process such large quantities of energy. At least, that has certainly been the trend with someone from Terra.
Amelia's gaze bores into me as emphasis on the word, as she emphasizes the word Terra. Then she looks back down at her manipulator.
Although, 2 minutes have passed, and there seems to be no sign of an adverse reaction.
Why does she sound so disappointed? Suddenly, Kara squeals as she gingerly picks a rusty coin out of the remains of a leather satchel.
This is a genuine Vestin coin!
Zack glances at the coin and folds his arm, clearly unimpressed.
How much could a rusted, outdated coin be worth?
About a few hundred gold pieces.
Zack's demeanor instantly changes.
You don't say.
Kara smoothly pockets the satchel as Zack covertly searches the room. As Kara finishes up her inspection of the room, Leona looks around.
Well, since we found what we came for, we should head back.
Kara nods and leads the way out. As we leave the room, we notice the fire which had previously glowed in front of the barrier is now gone, but all of our items are still intact. Oh, that's nice. Hey, nothing was burned in here.
Curious. Then it can be assumed that the purpose of this trial was not to destroy our possessions, but to test our willingness to sacrifice.
Kara happily scoops out her coin purse.
I'm not complaining.
Leona smiles in relief as she reaches in and quickly collects what looks like a ring attached to a thin chain.
Let's keep going.
The rest of us snatch up our items and continue back out of the corridor. The trek out of the temple is a lot faster and easier than the trek in, mostly because there are no more obstacles to stop us. We pop out of the same hidden wall in which we entered. Just as before, the main ceremonial hall is empty. We wave goodbye to the couple of monks sweeping the entryway, then begin to walk back to the village. I finally stop with Kara. So, who exactly were the Vestins?
They were the original tribe of Ember Mist, and the initial keepers of the Fire Temple.
Did they build the temple?
It depends on who you ask. Some experts believe they did. Others think the temple was already there by the time the Vestins came about.
Interesting. I'm curious. How did you get into treasure hunting? She pauses just a little too long before flashing me her usual cheerful grin.
I just sort of fell into it, honestly. Treasure hunting naturally fit into my nomadic lifestyle.
Where did you learn all the history to even identify relics?
You'd be surprised how much you pick up along the way, especially after you realize what a lucrative business this can be.
So you're just in it for the money?
I didn't say that. I'll admit that at first I was just in it for the money. But the more I learned about the ancient people of Asaria, the more invested I became in the history of each relic I found. I started to find myself daydreaming about who might have used the items I found. What kind of person were they? Did they cherish this item, or was it just another piece of their ever-growing collection of stuff?
That's a cool way of thinking. I've never thought about it like that before. Maybe if I had, I would have paid more attention in history class. Kara looks at me shrinking.
Are you a treasure hunter too?
Nope.
But you sought out experts dedicated to history?
Something like that. It was less me seeking it out and more of a requirement I had to fulfill. We stay silent as we walk, each of us preoccupied with our own thoughts. Arasaka immediately lead the way back to Ormus while I lag behind. The pongo sits on my head. Liana notices my absence and falls into step with me. She passes the pongo, who ignores her, still too focused on the energy around me. Liana pouts, then shakes away the pongo's disregardance. Is that a word? Of her and focuses her attention on me.
Something on your mind?
I drop my voice low so the others can't hear me. Now that I've collected the energy from the temple, that means that I can try to create a temporal rift and go back home, right? Kara stops and rolls around her face as Zack and Amelia stop with her.
Pardon me, you were speaking very softly and it was a little hard to hear, but it sounded like you just said you need to open a temporal rift to go back home? But that can't be right, can it?
Geez, this woman's got some supersonic hearing. I glance at Liana, who looks alarmed. About that. Kara's smile falters at my hesitance, but Amelia looks excited.
I knew it. My hypothesis is correct.
Hypothesis? What hypothesis?
My hypothesis that he is from a parallel world.
Liana's eyes grow wide, and she forces a panicked smile.
I think all this parallel world and temporal rift talk has been getting to you. I mean, Elder Isum said it's impossible.
He has already admitted it.
But Liana and I have been careful not to say anything. When?
The day of our acquaintance.
I rack my brain, but I don't remember bringing that up around Amelia.
You sought out Professor Xavier's guidance, and after he imparted his advice, you and Leona had a brief discussion in which you mentioned that what he had suggested was exactly what happened to you. Thus began my hypothesis that you arrived from a parallel world.
Liana looks at me, unsure how to react. What is up with all these eavesdroppers? Does nobody understand the word privacy around here? You all have a problem with eavesdropping.
It's not eavesdropping if you're speaking loud enough for me to hear.
Do not change the subject at hand.
She already knows.
Not from Terra, huh?
Zack looks me up and down and nods to himself.
It's a lot better than the alternative.
Well, what's the alternative?
That you might be unique.
Zack!
He didn't even know what a discharger was. At least if he's from another world, that explains why he didn't know these things.
Kara looks skeptical.
How did he get here?
There have been unexplainably high concentrations of energy popping up throughout Isaria, and he happened to show up at one of those areas. We went to the Mage Academy to get some answers, and that's how we came up with the possibility that the high energy readings were temporal rifts, and somehow he had traveled through one. Why or how those rifts were even opened, we still don't know.
But if they're the only way for me to get back home, then I have to try to open one. Kara shrugs.
Let's just make sure you attempt to open one far away from where I'm standing.
That might be tricky considering no one knows how to open one. We may need to talk to Elder Isum.
That won't be necessary. I know how to do so already.
How do you know that?
The directions are located in Elder Ism's old research notes, which I had gathered from the Academy. The spell itself is a simple conjuration, which even an amateur could do.
An amateur can open a temporal rift? Then why isn't everyone doing it?
The impossibility of the spell comes from the fact that the human body cannot manipulate the amount of energy needed for it.
She pauses and points to me.
He may be an exception.
I squirm slightly as their gazes fall on me.
Given that you have absorbed energy directly from the temple, which should also be an impossibility, I must assume that there is something within you which can possess the high amount of magic without suffering consequences. Perhaps it is a skill which you acquired from your world.
My world doesn't have magic.
Regardless, only a short amount of time has passed. There is plenty of time for you to still internally combust.
A wave from these makes my stomach queasy. Maybe I should open up this rift now before that has a chance to happen. Amelia grins with excitement.
I concur with that suggestion.
Oops. Oh.
That may be the best now that you have the magic.
Zack shrugs and Kara takes a look at their open surroundings.
Maybe we should first look for a spot with a bit more cover. We don't want to be opening up rifts on an open pathway.
Good point.
There was some tree cover towards the west.
We mumble our affirmations and follow Zack towards the tree. We settle into a grove of trees. Both Liana and Amelia stand on either side of me. Zack selects a tree far enough away to not be affected by any stray magic, but close enough to get a good view of what's going on. Hello, James. Hello, welcome. Kara, on the other hand, hangs back towards the outskirts of the trees. Zack looks back at her, and a smile on his lips. Oh, the concert was really fun. Yeah, I went a few times because there were like different showings. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna post highlights. I've already been streaming a couple hours, and like this is the visual novel again, so like my voice is kind of getting tired. So I was thinking of ending the stream soon, and I'm going to like edit the highlights for the concert. Yeah, it was really nice. It was a good time. Lots of like effects and like just cool stuff happened. Yeah, I really definitely need to, cause like yeah, I mean just like a couple hours of like just straight talking. Kinda a little too much. Not what I'm used to.
You'll miss the show from back there. You sure you don't want to come any closer?
Kara's voice is distant.
Yep.
There's a bit of movement as she takes another step back behind the tree. Okay, yeah, I think this is a good spot because something big's supposed to happen right now, so I think that's like a good like cliffhanger sort of place to stop for now. But yeah, that's cool that you saw the Suicide Squad. I've heard good things about this version, about the recent one, because they did another one like a few years ago, and like
so many people just like, I mean, there are people who didn't like it, who thought it sucked, and then there were people who are just like, it was okay. But like this one, people actually think is good, I guess, apparently. Oh, well, that's good. That reminds me of, I think Star Trek First Contact. Because, no, wait. Was it? Oh yeah, cause, yeah, the Borg, right. Yeah, like Star Trek First Contact, because, like, I'm a big, like, sci-fi nerd, and I watch Star Trek, and, like, we were watching that movie, and, like, it looked good in, like, trailers and stuff, so my sister, like, and her boyfriend, like, kind of wanted to see it, but they were like, you know, but we don't know much about Star Trek, or whatever, and I was like, and so they were like, oh, well, you know, if you want to go see it, you know, we'll all get together, and, like, you know, you can, like, explain stuff or whatever. And, yeah, so we all went, and I just had to explain, like, just one thing at the beginning, and then, like, that was it. We just watched the movie, and she was like, yeah, wow, like, I didn't know, like, anything about Star Trek, but that movie was really good. It was just a good movie. So yeah, that's cool. It must be really good then if like yeah, someone like your mom who's like not really into that stuff is like, oh yeah, that was a good movie. Okay, oh right, no, save isn't in there. Okay, but yeah, anyways. Let me get some water first. Oh yeah, definitely, that makes sense, especially with like Avengers, since that's such a huge ongoing story. Yeah, I didn't watch that, but like, yeah, I do know that it was like, I mean, very like tied in, and there was like a lot to know going in, and just like this whole thing going on. But yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but my voice is getting a little strained there. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of the stream. And if you're watching and you like what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, hit the bell for notifications. I'm on Twitch and YouTube, all at Jinx. Check my Twitch schedule and for when I'll be streaming, and check my Twitter for any last minute changes to the schedule. Yeah, that would be cool, or James, yeah. I wouldn't mind hearing about it. Yeah, cause I don't know if I'm gonna see it, so yeah. If you tell me about it, that will be cool too. Yeah, no worries, you can just catch up later, catch up on the archive, catch up on like at the archive. So yeah. And but yeah, thanks for stopping by. and thanks for chatting, supporting. I really appreciate it. Thanks, and you have a good rest of your day. And for anyone else that may be watching, thanks for supporting, and I hope you enjoyed the stream, and hope to catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!